5 disturbing crimes caught on Google Street View by Chilling Scares. Let's go.
In October 2024, a Google Street View car captured what looked like the aftermath of a horrific crime in the small Spanish town of Tahueco. It captured a man loading a large white bag into the trunk of his car. Now, this easily could have had an innocent explanation. However,
what's the explanation? Someone in the chat give me a valid explanation on this one.
Many noted that the bag's shape looked a lot like a human body, and unfortunately, that is exactly what it turned out to be. The bag contained the remains of a 32-year-old Cuban man named Jorge Luis Perez. He had gone missing in November 2023 after sending a message to his family saying he was leaving Soria, the place he had lived, with a girl he had met, and that he would no longer be using that phone. One of his cousins found this highly suspicious and reported his disappearance to the police.
What the fuck is that? Is that Freemason or whatever? Persona desesperada ayúdame compartiendo es mi primo. Damn. Can you imagine loading a dead body in the back of your car? And you're like, oh, I hope the cops aren't coming. The Google Street van.
However, despite the investigators' best efforts, they were unable to find any clues that could help them find Jorge. There were no witnesses or any surveillance footage that could point them in the right direction. So the case went cold for months. Or at least until one of the investigators came across the Google Street View images in November 2024. Coincidentally, the Street View car had also captured the same man carrying the white plastic bag in a wheelbarrow on the way to his car.
Oh my god.
These images proved to be the final
broad
piece in
daylight
solving the mystery of Jorge's disappearance. They were able to narrow down the list of potential suspects by tracing the vehicle back to its owner, a 48-year-old Tahueco resident named Manuel Isla Gallardo, who worked at the town hall in the neighboring town. However, Manuel had no prior history of violence or any other illegal activity, making it difficult for the authorities to arrest him without any solid evidence. But after tapping his phone and trailing him for a couple of weeks, the investigators uncovered the connection they were looking for. He was in a relationship with Jorge's partner, and as later investigation would reveal, Manuel and this partner kidnapped and later killed Jorge because of this love triangle. They likely would have gotten away with it as well if not for the Street View images, a discovery that was nothing short of a miracle. You see, the town of Tahueco has fewer than 50 residents, so there were no eyewitnesses to Manuel putting Jorge in his car. Additionally, the Google Street View car just so happened to be driving through Tahueco for the first time in 15 years. Both Manuel and his partner were arrested on November 11th after investigators found more evidence linking them to Jorge's disappearance in their home. Their arrest also led to the discovery of Jorge's remains in a cemetery about 15 minutes from where the Google Street View images were captured, finally bringing closure to his tragic case.
Number 1, rest in peace. Number 2, can you imagine there's a little love triangle going on? You catch your girl like cheating on you, right? That's bad enough, right? Ooh, I would just, then you get killed by the dude that she's cheating. I'd haunt these motherfuckers in jail. I would be reincarnated. I'd ask to be reincarnated. I'd come back down here as like their kid, right? That's what I do. But then I grow up and I kill them both. And so then what would happen was then I would go to jail and then they would reincarnate as my cellmates, because I'd be serving life, and then they'd kill me. And then what would happen was they would get a double life sentence, so they'd be in there for double. And so, but then I'd come back as the guard, right? And so then I would kill him again. But then I would go to jail because, you know, guards aren't supposed to kill person. And so then they will come back as like, I don't know, milk deliverers. At the end of the day, I'm still getting fucked over. Rest in peace, bro. Fuck. Jorge, come on. He didn't deserve that. You can tell. Rest in peace.
In December 2018, the Brisbane Police Department in Australia received a missing person report regarding 46-year-old Priscilla Bruton. She was an American beauty queen who moved to Australia with her daughter back in 2013 to start a new life. Things were going well for Priscilla. However, during the latter half of 2018, she stopped posting on social media and completely cut off communication with her friends and family back in the US. After months of silence, one of her friends contacted the police, sparking an investigation into her disappearance. but she was nowhere to be found. She was last seen at the house of her boyfriend, Mark Waden, who she met during a Zumba class in 2017. However, when
hold on, he does look he looks like the type of dude to be at Zumba. Listen, I've never done Zumba. I'm not hating on Zumba, but if I had to think, okay, this is Zumba right here. Is that might be a slur for Zumba people? But this dude looks like a Zumba. Shut up. And he also looks like a serial killer. I don't know about y'all, but he's got like that. Like he's kind of got those kind eyes, but you can tell there's something hidden and it's like he's hiding it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna call it right now. He killed her.
Friend Mark Waden, who she met during a Zumba class in 2017. However, when questioned, Mark claimed that they had actually broken up back in June 2018.
Oh.
He also suggested that she
what
went
was
missing
that
on purpose
move?
to avoid immigration, since she was apparently overstaying her visa by that point.
Uh-oh.
But this wasn't enough to convince the investigators of his innocence, as they also found Priscilla's car just 11 miles from his home. With no other leads, police began to consider the possibility of a potential homicide, and that's where they made a grim discovery. Priscilla was, without a doubt, dead. Even more shockingly, she was buried in Mark's front yard. Cadaver dogs helped pinpoint her exact burial location near the home's entrance, prompting an excavation to recover her remains on June 8, 2019.
The front yard is wild. Guys, that's insane. Especially if you got a backyard. You know, front yard, crazy. What's up with these people in this episode? They got balls of steel, like that's serious.
However, while the investigators did find some evidence from the dig site, most of the body was completely missing, which didn't seem to make any sense. As it turned out, Mark caught wind of the upcoming excavation in May, hired a construction crew to dig up the area with Priscilla's remains, and transported it to an unknown location with a trailer. What he didn't know, however, was that his crime had been captured on camera long before the investigation ever began. In August 2018, a Google Street View car mapped the Bracken Ridge area around Mark's home, and as it passed in front of his property, it captured what appears to be the very grave he dug for Priscilla, right where she was eventually buried. It even showed the trailer he would later use to hide the evidence. This, combined with testimonies from neighbors who saw him digging in the yard at unusual hours, made it impossible for him to play dumb and get away with his crime. He was finally arrested on the 13th of June and is currently awaiting sentencing while under house arrest.
Bro, wipe that little smug-ass smile off your face before I smack it off you. Also, this dude is on house arrest? That's kind of crazy, y'all. That's crazy. Grizzly, do they do little crimes differently over there? Is that... I don't think that's a thing. House arrest for murder? That's insane. Okay. Take those sunnies off, cunt. I'm gonna beat them off ya.
Sometime in 2018, Google updated the street view in the Ecatepec de Morelos municipality in Mexico.
I've always wanted to go somewhere like
Among the many new
this.
snapshots were the pictures of this rather unassuming empty lot with bags of trash scattered around the overgrown plants. However, those trash bags concealed a horror beyond what anyone in that neighborhood could have imagined. The truth came to light when the local police investigated a string of disappearances in the area and noticed a few similarities. All of the missing individuals were women, they were all young, and most importantly, they had all received calls and messages from the same woman before their disappearance, 28-year-old Patricia Martinez. She lived in a house just 100 meters away from that empty lot with her 33-year-old husband, Juan Carlos Hernandez, and their 4 children. The two made a living by selling clothes, food, jewelry, anything they could right outside their home. On the surface, they appeared to be a perfectly normal couple, but despite their seemingly ordinary lives, authorities kept an eye on them for weeks, suspecting that there was much more going on behind closed doors. Then, on the 4th of October, investigators saw the two walking outside with a stroller. They suspected the stroller was carrying the 2-month-old daughter of a missing woman who had vanished together with her mother a month prior. Hoping to prevent any harm to the baby, the investigators moved in and apprehended both Patricia and Juan. However, when they inspected the stroller, its contents left them in disbelief. Instead of a live child, it contained the dismembered remains of a woman. The couple was headed to the empty lot near their home to dispose of the evidence of their horrific crime. But this was only the tip of the iceberg. As the cops searched their home, they discovered dozens of dismembered human remains stored in their fridge, wrapped in plastic bags, and some encased in cement.
I see.
The cement bags in their home also matched the ones that were scattered throughout the the empty lot seen on Google Street View.
Oh,
Soon
God.
after their arrest, Juan admitted to everything and revealed the true extent of their gruesome crimes. According to his statements, the two had killed almost 28 women since 2012,
Oh, what?
including their neighbor's 13-year-old daughter. They would lure poor, vulnerable women with the promise of cheap or free clothes and high-paying employment before ending their lives in the most unspeakable ways and discarding their remains in plastic bags or cement. And if that wasn't bad enough, Patricia also admitted to cooking and cannibalizing parts of their victims.
Hold on, family. And how come none of us heard nah. I ain't never heard about this in my motherfucking life. What the hell? Dude, think about it, man. How many serial killers active right now? How many serial killers dialed in right now? This a wife and a husband serial killing together.
As well as feeding them to their dogs. However, the most shocking part of it all was Juan's complete lack of remorse, with him boldly declaring his hatred of women and vowing to do the same again if he was ever given the chance.
Thank you, Em. Congrats on the job, Em.
Coman carne de estas mujeres, aquellas sigan respirando mi oxígeno. Y mientras yo siga aquí en la tierra, voy a seguir haciendo todo el daño que yo pueda. Y divirtiéndome de ese daño.
The only silver lining.
Hey guys, that's not normal. It is not normal. It must be a demon walking the planet, unfortunately, family. It must be, because that's not normal for people to think and do. That's really not. Right? It's really not. What's going on here? If you touch the baby, I'm gonna get upset. Yeah, this is, I really do. I've told y'all this before, man. I really do believe that some demons walk down on this earth and pretend to be human people, but they're not human people, because human people don't do that.
In this entire case is that the baby was unharmed. They had actually sold it to another couple for 15,000 pesos, or about...
Hold up. How much? Hold up. Run it back, number one. Foxy with the 5 gifted. W in the chat for Foxy, man. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. W Foxy. The baby is the killer. Quiet.
Harmed. They had actually sold it to another couple for 15,000 pesos, or about $770. These buyers were later arrested and the baby was rescued safely. As for Juan and Patricia, they were sentenced to nearly 350 years behind bars, where they remain to this day.
Oh my god, dude. Again, like, enough with the put them in jail shit. We need like a torture program. Like, we really do. Show the sub goal. What are we at right now? 791. Come on, family. Foxy, you getting us closer and closer. Roll it.
If you go to this location in Barron, Wisconsin on Google Street View, you will see cop cars and police tape surrounding this residence.
Why is that?
On October 16th, 2018, this Street View car captured the aftermath of one of the most monstrous crimes in Wisconsin's recent history.
Oh, yeah. People who live in houses like this, number one, I know it would be nice and secluded and everything, and it would be awesome. People are getting killed inside these houses. People are getting beat. People are getting killed. People are getting thrown at walls. It's just because there's no one. You can't hear. Someone could be screaming bloody murder top of their lungs. Nothing would happen. Nothing would happen.
It happened a day earlier when the 21-year-old Jake Thomas Patterson knocked on the Kloss residence at around 12:50 a.m. and claimed to be a cop. James Kloss came to the door and demanded to see Jake's badge before opening the door. In a fit of rage, Jake raised the shotgun he'd brought with him and shot James through the door. He then fired another shot to break the lock and enter the house. Meanwhile, Denise Kloss locked herself and her 13-year-old daughter Jamie in the bathroom and made this disturbing 911 call.
I don't know if I really want to hear it, family. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I really want to hear it. Sorry, roll it. M with the 2 months. Thank you so much, M.
Where's your husband? Somebody else is my mom. Hello?
Officers rushed to the scene, but unfortunately, it was already too late. Not long after the 911 call, Jake shot down the bathroom door as well and opened fire on Denise. By the time the officers arrived, both James and Denise were already dead. However, the more urgent concern was Jamie, who was nowhere to be found. It didn't take long for officers to realize that Jamie had been taken by Jake. In fact, one of the responding officers had unknowingly passed Jake's fleeing car while rushing to the Kloss residence. As later investigation would reveal, Jake had developed a sick infatuation with Jamie after seeing her get off her school bus, and kidnapping her was his primary motive that night. He took her to his cabin about 80 miles away from her home and locked her in one of the rooms. And while the investigators started searching for Jamie almost immediately—
Hold up, and she was 13? Jesus Christ, brother. He committing all the sins. This dude, he got everything wrong with him. Like, legit. Normally it's like one or the other. Like, you're a murderer, you're a pedophile, but this dude he had double whammy.
They had nothing that could lead them in her direction. The FBI even put out a nationwide missing person report and offered a $25,000 reward for any information that could lead to Jamie's rescue. Unfortunately, none of this led to anything substantial, and the hope of finding her alive kept declining with each passing day. But then, on January 10th, 2019, the Wisconsin Police Department received a call they never expected.
Douglas County 911.
Hi. I have a young lady at my house right now, and she says her name is Jamie Kloss.
As it turned out, Jamie escaped Jake's cabin 88 days after her disappearance and asked for help from one of his elderly neighbors.
So how did she come up upon your cabin?
I was walking my dog, and we were almost home, and she was walking towards me, crying, saying, "You gotta help me, you gotta help me."
She pulled off this remarkable escape by carefully studying Jake's routine for weeks, tracking when he left and—
Jesus Christ, look. Sorry. Look at the face to head ratio here. It really is an interesting, like, you feel like his eyes would be like up here a little bit. Well, actually, no, that would be fucking weird if his eyes were up here. But yo, he got a big ass head, little ass face. Fuck are we doing? Hairline fucked? Come on, family.
and how long he was gone, waiting patiently until the perfect opportunity revealed itself. After getting in contact with the police, she told them everything she knew about her kidnapper, resulting in Jake getting identified and arrested following a traffic stop.
Oh, God.
Jake stood trial on May 24, 2019. He pleaded guilty to all charges and was given 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole, plus 40 additional years in prison.
Okay, and guess what else? He's getting the fucked out of him in prison too. So shout out. And it hurts. Guaranteed, he's getting hurt. Woo!
In February 2011, a Google Street View car captured what looked like an abduction in progress in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It shows a burly man saying something to a woman while she's trying to get away, while a car with an open trunk is parked nearby. The next slide shows the man restraining the woman, while we can also see another man strangely sitting in the car's trunk. And the next slide provides a clear view of the scene, showing the man in the white shirt seemingly trying to force the woman while she bites his hand in what looks like an attempt to break free. However, the final slide is even more unsettling as it shows the parked car driving away with neither the woman nor the man in the white shirt visible anywhere. Unfortunately, despite the alarming circumstances shown in these snapshots, I couldn't find any additional information about the alleged kidnapping. No news articles.
You know what? I feel like they're dead ass playing. Like this dude he had a smile on his face in both pictures. I feel like they might have known that the Google truck was coming and was like, yo, let's pull a little prank. That's what I'm hoping. But look at him smiling as shit. He ain't even looking at, they're both smiling. Let's hope they're just trolling and fucking around. It's a fucked up little prank that they all decided to do, but hopefully it's just a prank.
I couldn't find any additional information about the alleged kidnapping. No news articles, missing person reports, or criminal investigation records. It's almost as if the crime never happened, which, given the situation, isn't entirely out of the realm of possibility. There's a good chance that this disturbing scene has a perfectly innocent explanation. Maybe the white shirt man and the woman know each other, and instead of an attempted abduction, he's simply trying to tickle her. This would explain why he has a cheerful, almost smug grin in one of the
Yeah, bro, he ain't, nah, they ain't kidnapping nothing. Either they tickling or they trolling. Y'all, it's either a tickle or a troll. Y'all, he's the tickle monster for real. He could be the tickle monster. He could be. He jolly as a motherfucker right now.
snapshots, and why she's holding onto her cigarette while trying to free herself from a presumably dangerous situation.
Yeah, come on.
But even with all that in mind, the possibility that this was a real crime that just flew under the authorities' radar is also...
But she's like, bro, don't fucking tickle me. And he's like, what? Bro, I'm fun. The Google truck came by and I was tickling.
just as possible. The lack of reports and news articles doesn't necessarily mean nothing happened. It could just as easily point to a bigger systemic issue with bribery, corruption, and cover-ups that allow serious crimes to stay hidden in plain sight. Curiously, Google has since removed the most ominous snapshot from Street View for some unknown reason. Unfortunately, it's been over 14 years since these images were captured, and without any new evidence or leads, this case likely will forever remain a mystery.
I'm gonna go with that one's a prank. But the other ones were so fucked up, man. Rest in peace to that, the family, bro. Can you imagine being that 13-year-old girl and watching your mom and dad get shot in the face and then getting taken to this dude's house and being trapped in there for 88 days?